everyone, welcome back to Let's Talk. I am your host, John, and today here on the channel we're going to be talking about You Only Live Twice, the fifth film in the James Bond franchise, and it's also going to be the fifth film that we're going to be talking about in the Sean Connery 4K Blu-ray Steelbook collection. But before we review that 4K Blu-ray, I always like to give a quick film review, and today is no different. So if you don't want to know anything about You Only Live Twice, and you're just here for that 4K Blu-ray review, you guys can skip ahead to that right now. So back in 1967, Louis Gilbert was tapped to direct You Only Live Twice, the first of 3 Bond films he would actually direct. This one was interesting because it was written by Roald Dahl. That's a very famous writer. It's very interesting that he would write a screenplay for a Bond film. It seems very random. This film is also significant because it's supposed to be the last film that Sean Connery does in the James Bond franchise. He was going to be bowing out after this film. He didn't renew his contract. And to be honest, I feel like it kind of shows in the performance and in his wig game. It's right out of the gate, I have to point out the wigs that Sean Connery is wearing in this movie. It's no secret that he was balding in the early years of the Bond franchise, and he's always wearing a piece. But, you know, his hair always looked pretty damn good. But in this movie, they really sandbagged him with the wigs, man. Especially when he's in Japan, and, you know, he does pretty much try and play a Japanese person, which, you know, would not happen in 2025. That is for sure, even though he's trying to hide, and he's hiding in plain sight, but I don't know who he's trying to fool. Again, the wig is bad. Everything is bad in that sequence. This movie is very much just trying to be a James Bond film, and what I mean is this is where the formula is just the formula, and they're trying to get this, you know, especially when they're trying to produce these movies. Like, things are going wrong in the production, but they don't care. They got to hit their release date no matter what. It's set in stone, so they better finish this freaking film. And I just feel like they overlook things at this point. Like, they can just pump these out one after one after one at this point. It's a true franchise. Just come and see Bond doing his thing. Come see Sean Connery doing his thing as Bond. Got the same budget, $9 million, as Thunderball. Made less money than Thunderball. This is actually the first time that a James Bond film decreased in box office, so that's pretty significant. Like I said, I'm not the biggest fan of Thunderball. You Only Live Twice, I actually enjoy more than Thunderball overall. I think this film is a lot of fun, even though there's a lot of stupidity in this one that's kind of hard to look past. But there's a lot of interesting stuff. First of all, You Only Live Twice. James Bond, you know, fakes his death in the beginning of this movie. Has a great ceremony where we kind of going to put his, he wants to be buried at sea, so his body's going to be dumped at sea. Turns out he's alive still, you know, and I love that. The second he wakes up, permission to come aboard, sir. Like, you know, he's still James Bond, despite the fact he could have died. Like, this could have gone horribly wrong, but luckily it did not. So everything went according to plan. Now he's got to investigate what's going on because Spectre, you know, they're not sure at first it's Spectre, but somebody is basically just kidnapping. I guess you could call it kidnapping, but they're basically taking a bigger ship and taking their smaller ships, just closing the gaps on them. Like, it's ridiculous. It's really cool looking, actually, like the two sequences, because they take a Russian and an American ship, and they just basically take the ships away, and they're blaming each other. Essentially, what Spectre's trying to do is start a war here between the countries. Meanwhile, they're just trying to get their program off the ground. This is actually the first time we see Spectre's Blofeld on film. You know, we saw his hands in previous stuff. We hear his voice. It's always somebody different. This time, we get a big-time actor in Donald Pleasence to play Blofeld. And again, I'm going to bring it up just because my mind always goes to Austin Powers. This is clearly where Dr. Evil's look is based off. Clothes, facial expressions. Everything was taken here from Blofeld. The bald head, everything was taken from this Blofeld right here. The cat, you know, looks just like Mr. Bigglesworth. And Donald Pleasence, of course, does a great job in this movie. You love his interactions with Sean Connery. You love the end sequence. I think that's really what saves this movie is the third act. I truly love it. I love the set design. The production design is always top-notch. Is always top-notch in these early Bond films. They really had it nailed down. And I thought it worked. Now, again, this is another James Bond film that ends with James Bond and the girl on a raft. I think 2 out of the last 3 or something like that. So, again, like I said, very formulaic, this James Bond film. And just a lot of cheese. Like, a lot of slopped-on cheese in this. Feels like the end of Sean Connery's era. What was supposed to be the end of Sean Connery's era as James Bond. The next film would be On Her Majesty's Secret Service, played by George Lazenby James Bond this time. But of course, as we know, Sean Connery would come back for one more James Bond film, and that'll be the last James Bond film we'll be talking about in the Sean Connery 4K Blu-ray collection. But today we're here to talk about You Only Live Twice's 4K Blu-ray Steelbook as well. So let's talk about that right now. Well, we're back with this beautiful 4K steelbook housing that holds 6 4K Blu-rays in the Sean Connery James Bond collection. So we're going to come in here, we're going to pull out number 5, and that's You Only Live Twice. Obviously, we have James Bond on here from one of the iconic sequences in this where, you know, the effects at the time are very, very obvious, and yeah, I don't think they've aged great, but hey, it's an iconic sequence for a reason. On the back, we get Blofeld. No Bond girl on this one. We get Blofeld, and I don't know, was this cat's name Mr. Bigglesworth? Probably not. You come inside, you get one 4K Blu-ray. It doesn't come with a Blu-ray. Interesting interior artwork. I like it. Again, really leaning into that plane. Q really got something together for that one, I must say. We're going to be comparing this 4K Blu-ray to my previously released Sean Connery Collection Volume 2. Again, they split it up into 3 films each, Volume 1 and Volume 2. Honestly, the previously released Blu-ray is really good. Like, I don't really have too many complaints about it. All the extras are the same. The extras are great, by the way. So far, the best extras since Dr. No. I really love, like, first of all, like, they separate everything to, like, weird sections, and I don't really love that. I've complained about that because you kind of, like, have to go searching, but there really is so much. There's, like, old documentaries. There's an old promotional video that they made back in '67 to promote this movie. It's, like, 52 minutes long. It has old footage from the previous 4 Bond films. Love that. Thought that was awesome. You get an old interview from BBC in 1967. There is not only a making of documentary, but there's also a full documentary about the gun barrel sequence, about the opening credits, how iconic those are, which I love. That's something that I always keeps me coming back to Bond. You know, you get the Bond theme song. Like, there's certain things in the Bond franchise you just look forward to. I always love the opening with the gun barrel sequence. Always love the title sequence with the Bond song playing over it. Just something, you know, Mission Impossible completely lifted this from the Bond franchise. A lot of other films did as well, but it's iconic for a reason. You get a full documentary here in the extras, and then plenty of other stuff that's, you know, in all the Blu-rays, like the locations in the Bond film. This one's obviously in Japan. That's a pretty big deal, so they got all of that as well. So many extras. All of that does carry over to the 4K Blu-ray. We can fit it on the disc with the film. But again, the previously released Blu-ray isn't that bad, but we're upgrading the Dolby Atmos, Dolby Vision, HDR10, and a lot like Thunderball, it's just noticeably better than the first 3 Bond films. Again, they got more money, where, you know, the aspect ratio is different. This one's 2.39. I think Thunderball was 2.35, so a little bit different here. But again, you're going to have the black bars in the top and bottom, but it just looks noticeably better. The audio itself is a noticeable upgrade, a lot like Thunderball. You really do feel like this is a true Dolby Atmos track. Again, it's a very dated film, so they can't fix everything, but I thought that the Dolby Atmos track had some punch to it. Again, some great action sequences throughout the entire film, so you want that to be good, and it really is. It's a very good Dolby Atmos track. Nothing, again, that's going to blow your away or anything like that, but it's still a very solid Dolby Atmos track, one that, you know, is an improvement over the previous audio track. Now, the visuals, like I said, the Blu-ray looks really good, so it's not the biggest jump in the world to 4K Blu-ray. It's very similar to Thunderball. It's just, I think that Thunderball's Blu-ray to 4K Blu-ray was much more of a noticeable jump. This one, really what's going to be noticeable, obviously, other than the sharpness, is the colors. Like, anytime the colors are on screen, like really popping, like the red and everything like that, you'll notice that they definitely did some work. That's the Dolby Vision and HDR doing some work here. You'll notice that, like, just colors in general look much more natural, much more realistic, so I can't say it's not a big upgrade. It's just that it might not be the most noticeable upgrade. This is one where I could say, you know what, your previously released Blu-ray, you know what, it's not that bad, especially compared to this 4K Blu-ray. Yes, you are going to get an upgrade. It's going to be a noticeable upgrade. Just don't expect it to be the world's most noticeable upgrade, because that Blu-ray is pretty good. You got to comment on quality when it's there, and it's a pretty damn good Blu-ray, and I can't say it's a bad one. So the 4K Blu-ray is pretty damn good. I really do like it. I'm going to give it the exact same grade I gave to Thunderball, which is an 8.5 out of 10. Definitely, Thunderball and this are a much higher quality than the first 3 on 4K Blu-ray, which is kind of to be expected. Again, I didn't expect those to be, you know, miracles performed on it. Source material is a huge deal, and clearly the source material for these 2 films have been great. We got one more film left in the Sean Connery 4K Blu-ray collection we'll be talking about, and I'll also, you know, wrap it up and tell you my final thoughts on that sometime in the near future. Again, we got so many 4K Blu-rays coming out that it's hard to keep up, and, you know, to keep pumping these out. Sometimes I got to put some other films first and give these James Bond films a little bit of a break, but just bear with me. I'll get them out to you guys. I really appreciate all your support. But if you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, don't forget to share it, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to become a channel member if you'd like. We have a Friends of the Channel tier. We have a Producers tier where you're going to find Ben Rondo and John Doe Juggalo. And then we have a director's tier where you're going to find Stone Gasman, Kevin Kruger, Nicholas Head, Uncle V, and Frank from Frank's Media and Reviews. And we also have a bankroll tier where you'll find Mr. Smelly Potato. But of course, guys, if you have no money to throw my way, don't worry about it at all. I just hope you enjoyed the video. And if you did, get out in those streets, tell your friends about us, and then we'll be seeing you around.